Hello. I just want to share with you a few of my favourite passages from Lewis that include the magical, mystical sound of running water. In The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, we witness the undoing of the witch's spell, first through Edmund's senses. It's a heavy enchantment, maybe afflicts our own world so often. And then when the unnatural, silent winter is overthrown, the witch's sledge begins to stick in the melting snow. There seemed to be a curious noise all round them, but the noise of their driving and jolting and the dwarfs shouting at the reindeer prevented Edmund from hearing what it was, till suddenly the sledge stuck so fast that it wouldn't go on at all. When that happened, there was a moment's silence. And in that silence, Edmund could at last listen to the other noise properly. A strange, sweet, rustling, chattering noise. And yet not so strange, for he'd heard it before, if only he could remember where. And then all at once he did remember. It was the noise of running water. All round them, though out of sight, there were streams chattering, murmuring, bubbling, splashing, and even, in the distance, roaring, and his heart gave a great leap, though he hardly knew why, when he realised that the frost was over. And much nearer there was a drip, drip, drip from the branches of all the trees. And then as he looked at one tree, he saw a great load of snow slide off it. And for the first time since he had entered Narnia, he saw the dark green of a fir tree. Strange, sweet, rustling, chattering noise. It's a beautiful moment. And soon there's lots of other wonders for Edmund to see and hear, with a great glad chorus of birdsong and the joyous colours of flowers. This is the magic of spring. And the oppressive, heavy chains of snow and ice are over. The land itself and its creatures are free. And it started with the sound of running water. And could it be that it's the sound of the breaking of the enchantment in the forests of our own lives at times too, I wonder? At the beginning of The Silver Chair, Jill is unexpectedly on Aslan's mountain, beyond the furthest reach of the world, and she is terribly thirsty. And is it our own thirst that is represented in Jill? And can we hear the distant babbling of the water brooks calling to us in this story? The birds had ceased singing, and there was perfect silence, except for one small persistent sound, which seemed to come from a good distance away. She listened carefully and felt almost sure it was the sound of running water. The wood was so still that it was not difficult to decide where the sound was coming from. It grew clearer every moment, and sooner than she expected, she came to an open glade and saw the stream, bright as glass, running across the turf a stone's throw away from her. But although the sight of the water made her feel 10 times thirstier than before, she didn't rush forward and drink. She stood as still as if she had been turned into stone, with her mouth wide open, and she had a very good reason. Just on this side of the stream lay the lion. And the lion speaks. He says, "If you are thirsty, come and drink." If you are thirsty, come and drink. Just as Jesus said, if anyone's thirsty, let him come to me and drink in John's Gospel. "Are you not thirsty?" said the lion. "I'm dying of thirst," said Jill. "Dying of thirst." "Then drink," said the lion. Would you mind going away while I do?" said Jill. The lion answered this only by a look and a very low growl. And as Jill gazed at its motionless bulk, she realised that she might as well have asked the whole mountain to move aside for her convenience. The delicious, rippling sound of the stream was driving her nearly frantic. "Will you promise not to do anything to me if I do come?" said Jill. "I make no promise," said the lion. Jill was so thirsty now that without noticing it, she'd come a step further. "Do you eat girls?" she said. "I have swallowed up girls and boys, women and men, kings and emperors, cities and realms," said the lion. It didn't say this as if it were boasting, nor as if it were sorry, nor as if it were angry. It just said it. "I daren't come and drink," said Jill. "Then you will die of thirst," said the lion. "Oh dear," said Jill, coming another step nearer. "I suppose I must go and look for another stream, then." "There is no other stream," said the lion. It never occurred to Jill to disbelieve the lion. No one who had seen his stern face could do that. And her mind suddenly made itself up. It was the worst thing she'd ever had to do. But she went forward to the stream, knelt down, and began scooping up water in her hand. It was the coldest, most refreshing water she had ever tasted. You didn't need to drink much of it, for it quenched your thirst at once. And then there's the great divorce. And the narrator in this book is on a kind of day visit to the borders of heaven. And he comes to a great waterfall. Before me, green slopes made a wide amphitheatre, enclosing a frothy and pulsating lake into which, over many coloured rocks, a waterfall was pouring. Here once again I realised that something had happened to my senses, so that they were now receiving impressions that would normally exceed their capacity. On Earth, such a waterfall could not have been perceived at all as a whole. It was too big. Its sound would have been a terror in the woods for 20 miles. Here, after the first shock, my sensibility took both as a well-built ship takes a huge wave. I exulted. The noise, though gigantic, was like giants' laughter, like the revelry of a whole college of giants together laughing, dancing, singing, roaring at their high works. Such jubilation in a waterfall. And the section ends with the waterfall speaking in a great voice. It was a thunderous yet liquid voice. With an appalling certainty, I knew that the waterfall itself was speaking, and I saw now, though it did not cease to look like a waterfall, that it was also a bright angel who stood like one crucified against the rocks and poured himself perpetually down towards the forest with loud joy. It's the waterfall's spirit or angel embodying the joy of self-giving in the pouring forth of its waters. It's like the approach of God in Ezekiel. The sound of his coming was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone with his glory. And finally, in Prince Caspian, the sound of the great river of Narnia in the darkness after all the other sounds have fallen away. War is over, and the river god has been released, and the bridge which chained him has been destroyed, and the fords of Baruna have been restored, and there's only peace and deep joy in the comforting sound of the night river. Thus Aslan feasted the Narnians till well after the sunset had died away, and the stars had come out, and the great fire, now hotter but less noisy, shone like a beacon in the dark woods, and the frightened Telmarine saw it from far away, and wondered what it might mean. The best thing of all about this feast was that there was no breaking up or going away, but as the talk grew quieter and slower, one after another would begin to nod and finally drop off to sleep with feet towards the fire and good friends on either side, till at last there was silence all round the circle and the chattering of water over stone at the ford of Baruna could be heard once more. And all night Aslan and the moon gazed upon each other with joyful and unblinking eyes. Good night.